Hi, everyone. I'm Frank Malicote, anchor reporter, KTVU Fox 2 here in the San Francisco Bay Area. My guest is an immigration attorney. She's based in Columbus, Ohio. Ohio. Well, that's not very good. We'll try that again. In fact, I've had, all right. We'll do take two here. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Frank Malicote. I'm an anchor and a reporter for KTVU Fox 2 here in the San Francisco Bay Area. My guest is an immigration attorney. She is based in Columbus, Ohio, Ina Simakovsky, to shed a little light on the president's latest idea, I guess I could say, of freezing all immigration to the United States because of the pandemic. First and foremost, good morning and good afternoon, Ina.
Thank you for having me.
I know this was nothing more than a tweet, but it certainly got a little bit of traction. Just your reaction out of the gate.
The reaction is shock and disbelief, and immigration is such a serious topic as we are all immigrants, and it is just amazing that we need to use this virus, which has closed our country down, to create immigration policy that we do not need and that does not address the issues that we have with the virus.
Well, it wasn't popular on both sides of the aisle, primarily Democrats, of course. Our Senator Kamala Harris, former presidential potential candidate, she wrote, "Trump failed to take the crisis seriously from day one, and now he shamelessly is politicizing the pandemic to double down on his anti-immigrant agenda." Would you agree with that?
I would completely agree with that. If you look at this executive order that is taking shape, it was closing down the border, it was closing down immigration, closing down green cards, and now as you start to read what has been leaked, there's so many exceptions to this executive order that it's very unclear who is going to really be affected.
And well, let's talk about the effect. If you've got a green card and you're in France and you have a job back here, want to come back, you may even have a family back here, or if you've got a visa and you were going to travel to the States, I mean, are you stuck if something like this were to happen?
Well, that's the issue is right now with COVID-19, everything is closed. So
Right.
most things dealing with immigration are closed, right? The courts are closed, immigration's closed, the consulates are closed, the borders are closed, certain countries are closed. So who does this affect? If you are a green card holder in Germany right now, you cannot come back. If you are a tourist trying to come in, you can come in, but actually you cannot come in. So when you read this executive order that's going to be coming out, it's really unclear as to who will be affected and who he wants, besides rallying the base, who is this meant to affect?
Would he have the authority to do this, or would it take Congress?
Unfortunately, for an executive order like this, he would have the authority. So if there's a national pandemic, he can close down admissions. And as the Muslim ban has showed, he has the authority as the president to make executive orders like this.
Well, it hasn't happened yet. It was merely a tweet, but it certainly got a lot of reaction up on Capitol Hill. Let's pivot a little bit because California has made $125 million available, a relief fund, so to speak, for undocumented immigrants here in the state that are probably scared to death. They're first and foremost, in our political world right now, it's difficult to be an undocumented immigrant. And secondly, you got COVID-19, and a lot of these people work in the fields, have jobs where they would be exposed to this. How big a deal was that California stepped up to help these people out?
I think it's fantastic that California stepped up. And I think as an American public, we should start to realize that these essential workers, whether they be healthcare workers, farm workers, food supply workers, these are essential workers for the American public to survive through this. So I think it's important to have something like this, to have what California passed and California is doing. But let's talk bigger. Let's talk about immigration reform. as opposed to doling out little bits of money to people to help. Let's legalize these people so that they can be part of what saves us from this pandemic.
We have spoken before in weeks past, but I think it bears repeating. You're an immigration attorney. How has the whole COVID-19, the coronavirus, affected how you do your job?
Well, it's made us rethink how Simikovsky law works. We've all gone remote, and it's also made us rethink how we approach immigration law and how we help our documented and undocumented clients. We've now started to do things much more holistically, and we've tried to approach immigration from a positive and from getting as many people to become citizens and to vote. And I'm not going to hide my perspective as a former refugee and as an immigration lawyer. I believe that voting and voting in a Congress and voting in a president that cares about immigrants is very important and very vital.
And how about the courts? Not all of them are open, and it's kind of how does that work for you?
So we are under the Cleveland Immigration Court, and the Cleveland Immigration Court is just open for detained hearings. And today we received a third memo stating how we are supposed to do filings, how we are not supposed to appear in court unless we have permission. So as opposed to closing down the courts, which is what we would like to happen, not only to protect the immigration attorneys, but to protect the government lawyers, to protect the judges. Every day we get a different email that says who is open and who is closed. So again, there is no national perspective, national email, national discourse on how immigration courts are handling this.
And this could be different in, say, San Francisco, LA, Chicago?
Absolutely.
And you deal with cases outside your jurisdiction as well, right? Outside of,
we do.
I would imagine.
We do. And right now we're just not able to travel, and a lot of the courts are closed for non-detained hearings. So we've been very fortunate that we have not had to travel.
Have the judges been somewhat understanding?
They have been very understanding. I mean, I think that they are also human, and they're also scared of this virus, right? I mean, I think as humans, we're all in this together. And whether you're a judge or whether you're someone that's detained or whether you're a lawyer, you want to be able to protect yourself.
And I would imagine you have some clients that are detained right now. Where's their psyche? How are they doing?
They're very scared. There's no protective masks. There's overcrowding. If it's going to spread, it's going to spread in the jails. And a lot of these jails and detention centers are in places where there are no hospitals. So it's very scary. It should be scary to all of us because, again, these are people that are in our care.
Yeah. Communication-wise, is it difficult to communicate? I mean, I would imagine they probably don't have access to Zoom or a computer, let alone a telephone here and there. That's got to be an issue as well.
We've had a client who has not been able to get a hold of us for a week, and then we finally were able to get a hold of him. And the judge actually helped me communicate with him, and the judge asked the ICE officers to give him a pen so that he could make some notes that I had for him. So that just tells you what our due process is all about right now.
Do you have any other examples of some of your clients, no names obviously, but some of the things that they're going through because of the coronavirus?
A couple of months ago, I was down in Mexico in Brownsville at Matamoros, and we helped a lot of the people in those camps. And right now, that entire program has been closed down. So anyone that's at the border right now is not able to apply for asylum. Children that are sent, unaccompanied children that are sent to the US are being turned back. So there's a whole encampment of people right now in Mexico that is stuck. And once the virus hits those camps, it's just going to destroy a lot of people.
And how about the way you do your job? Do you think in months, if years down the road, that showing up at court might be changed to more video, and just because that's what we're doing now? It's what we're doing right now, in fact.
I think that our immigration court today came up with some emails where we can email, and they gave us page limits. So 50 pages for one type of filing, 90 pages for a different type of filing. We've been asking for this for years. There's no reason that we can't file things electronically, that technology exists. Everything exists to do this. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to make that happen. And hopefully for the people that are able to keep up with the technology, this is a great opportunity to be able to do things remotely.
Have the courts given you any indicator when they might reopen there in Ohio, or is it a kind of a waiting game until we get a vaccine, or at least kind of get to the top of this, so to speak?
So May 15th is, they told us today they're going to be closed through May 15th. So we'll see. Do they reopen on May 15th, or on May 15th, do they tell us that they're closed till June 1st? I mean, that's the problem, is you need a federal directive on this, and it's not coming. So all the courts are doing what they think is best.
And how bad is the pandemic? It differs from state to state, but in Ohio per se, are you ahead of the curve? Are you behind it? How are you folks doing?
We have been very fortunate. Governor DeWine and Dr. Acton were very proactive in closing down Ohio and putting a stay-in-place order in. And so we were one of the first states, besides New York and California, to follow those directives. So we are ahead of the game, but the pressure is now on to reopen, and that's very problematic, because I think reopening is really, economically, it might be a good idea, but in terms of safety, I think that we just need to ride this out, because it's good for all of us at this point.
And it is a brave new world. Down the road, immigration as a whole may change because of what we've gone through. It's certainly going to change the way us Americans greet one another, how we do business together, how we do this as we're doing on Zoom. But how about for immigration? How do you think that may change in terms of health, getting people here into the country?
I think it's going to be really interesting once this executive order comes out, who will be affected. And I think in the long term, if all of these consulates stay closed, no one will be coming. And I think in terms of temporary workers, we need those temporary workers to come as quickly as possible, because we don't have the workforce to do some of the jobs that really sustain us as a society. I also think, again, once we look at all of this and what's important, we need to have some sort of immigration reform that will reflect who we are as a society and what our needs are. So I believe this is a perfect time to restart the immigration reform conversation and to legalize the people that are here, because obviously if we're not going to get new people coming in, let's legalize the ones that are here.
Anything else you'd like to add, Ina?
Let's meet on the other side of this, yeah. Right?
Let's get healthy and move on with our world. Hopefully we can. That is Ina Simakovsky. She is an attorney, an immigration attorney from Columbus, Ohio. We have chatted before. Always appreciate the insight. Ina, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, Ina, you as well. I'm Frank Malakode here in the Bay Area. Let's send it back to you.